I'm going to focus on farmers and the potential of a greater proportion of farmers to participate in the growing industry of artisan, speciality or high value added foods generally. The market income for all cattle and sheep farms, those which incidentally make up 73% of all farms in Ireland, is in the negative. And this means, essentially, that the produce is being sold in the market at a loss, and that the subsidies in these cases are used not as an income subsidy, as many may think, but indeed as a subsidy to cover the costs of producing the food, animal feed and so on. Ecologists now affirm that the only way we can manage farmland in an ecologically sound manner is by having the farmer living on his or her land long enough and intimately enough to have learned how to manage it properly. With the loss of ecological land health, they say, we see the loss of soil quality, wildlife and recreational areas. And with the loss of rural populations, they say, the loss of public services, education, healthcare, transportation inevitably follow. And indeed, a recently published IFA UCD study makes the argument that farms are not only important to the agricultural economy, but to the wider national economy. Referring to the multiplier effect from agriculture, the report finds that of every €100 worth of agricultural output, €72 is produced in the wider economy. There is a burgeoning market demand for foods, neither cheap commodity foods or expensive luxury speciality foods, that are somewhere in the middle and are produced in accordance with sustainable agriculture standards. They say that it is precisely the farmers of the middle who are in the best position to produce these products. And it's critical to note that the middle agriculture product that we've just overviewed is complementary to Ireland's existing commodity market and Ireland's existing artisan food industries. The artisan food is a very rare product. It exists, this middle agriculture product, somewhere in the middle. It represents this middle ground that so many Irish farms occupy. Farmers themselves must be facilitated to create the cooperatives at the local and regional level in a bottom-up way. If farmers do not take ownership of the process, how can they become partners in the value chain? And indeed, how can an authentic link between the farmer and the product be claimed?
We are price setters, not takers. We are very transparent in our policy and the charges we need. But for that, I think, is one of the key aspects of Irish farming in the future. We have to have a proper level of cost of production and be transparent and get the right money for our product.
We will be very open, I think, to new models if they're sustainable and if they really would assist a sustainable farming into the next generation.
The farmers themselves have to take hold of this.
We have the potential, genuinely the potential, to produce, significantly increase our production to the benefit of the small producer, the artisan producer, but the commodity producer in a very significant way that can increase exports into this, export earnings into this country, create employment out in rural economies and sustain farm families and rural economies. So both have to work together.
I mean, one thing I've learned is it is a hard slog. It's not easy. I mean, farmers do like to remain in the middle. They like to remain in the herd, but they will move if they see a return for what they get. I mean, over the last few years, we've seen, farmers are producing, probably many of them at a loss, but they're willing to produce. The subsidies are there, but they're willing to change as well. And I think that's a positive. It's one of the ingredients, that we can have going forward.
If we are going to save agriculture as we presently know it, we have to become price setters. And the other thing, I think, to buy into Aine's concept, I think we as farmers need to get involved in this movement and to own it, and to own to get as much of the return as we can back from the marketplace. That is the only way that we can survive.
I'm wondering about barriers to bringing middle agriculture in. I'm wondering whether you could comment maybe on where the processing power could be seen as a barrier.
My view of the processors is I would love to develop an industry where I'd be phoning a factory and say, I want you to process X many lambs for my group. What are you going to charge me?
Yeah.
And we have them already marketed. That, to me, is the functioning of what processing the existing plants that are in the country.
But the reality is we need processors. And we need successful processors that's ahead with the curve and ahead of the curve.
And we need leadership, but we need leadership from farmers. It's the farmers need to lead it.
I'd like again to thank the panel members. I hope that, and I believe that this will create at least some thought, something to go out back into the community with, something that we can engage with over the coming months and years to realise, I think, what we're all agreed on, which is our fantastic produce that we produce in this country, and we just need to build a system which brings the benefits to the farmers so that we continue to enjoy that food.